won't see, but you will.
The first season of the series The Changeling, based on the novel by Victor LaValle, has concluded on Apple TV Plus, and it seems like it won't be the last. The show, adapted by Kelly Marcel, the screenwriter of Venom and Cruella, takes LaValle's work into the realm of fantasy urban horror. This intriguing subgenre of confusing but fascinating reaches unprecedented heights in this show, combining family tragedies, psychological dramas, history, and mystic. The relatively modern New York of the 2010s becomes a harbor for the supernatural, driving young parents insane, whether as payment for their ancestors' sins or simply for the sake of amusement.
She told me I had 3 wishes.
Once upon a time, a rare book merchant named Apollo met Emma, a librarian, a perfect match. However, Emma didn't give in immediately. At first, she resisted going on a date for a long time. Then, just when their wedding was almost here, she went on a spiritual journey to Brazil, fulfilling a long-standing dream. Apollo promised to wait, and he kept his word. From her trip, Emma brought back an interesting story about either a fortune teller or maybe even a witch she encountered near a hidden waterfall in a jungle. The blind fortune teller promised her tying a red thread to her wrist and instructing her not to cut it under any circumstances. Apollo, who called himself nothing less than a god Apollo, laughed and immediately pulled out a knife, declaring that all of Emma's wishes would come true with him and no threats were needed. It almost happened that way. An ideal wedding among friends, a cozy apartment, long-awaited pregnancy, and a baby, although not making it to the hospital, born in a subway, but healthy and a most beautiful bride. However, after some time, someone started anonymously sending Emma photos of her husband and son from their walks together with strange messages to her phone and immediately deleting them, claiming there was no proof. The baby stopped sleeping, and so did the mom. Apollo, attributing everything to lack of sleep and paranoia, got angry, refusing to believe his wife's story. Suddenly, she declared that it wasn't her child. Not a child at all, in fact. The original title, The Changeling, coincides with the title of Clint Eastwood's movie starring Angelina Jolie as a mother trying in vain to prove to the world that her son has been replaced and to find the real one. Emma will do the same, but that's where the similarities between the movie and the series end. Instead of straightforward drama with thriller elements, the screen unfolds a multi-layered eclectic narrative that doesn't tightly fit into any genre boundaries. Each episode breaks down into temporal segments and flashbacks, gradually shifting from an initially realistic tone to a completely fantastical story. A children's book with a creepy plot about fairies feeding on babies, advised by Apollo from his long-lost father, and a story he dreamed of reading to his son turns out to be predicting, just like the prophecy of a Brazilian fortune teller by the waterfall. Everything that happened to the characters and even their parents begins to make sense, forming links to a chain of inevitable events. No matter how much the thread twists, it ultimately leads everyone to a hidden island near New York, a place with a rich and ominous history, serving as a refuge for mothers who have lost children and received evil challengings that bite them with toothless mouth. The main plot sometimes gets interrupted by stories from the past in The Changeling. It's a bit hard to understand what's happening and where the main story is at times. The parents of the characters go through losses, failures, and deaths, carrying the burden of sin, which the children might be paying for. This common biblical, mythological, and archetypal idea takes a prominent place in The Changeling, turning the plot into almost an epic. Everything is intertwined. The story of a refugee from Uganda desperately trying to become an American ends with the death of the American who exploited her love. The madness of another mother serves as a warning for her daughter, who might repeat her fate but still has a chance to survive on her own, not to go insane and find her son. Delving into the messages of The Changeling will take a while, and not all of them will be read and solved, which is generally for the better, as the mystical touch of incompleteness is essential for this plot like air. Wise mothers in the online group turn into modern witches, and back into mothers who have lost hope. One unfortunate father might turn out to be an evil monster, while another might indeed be a god capable of everything, not the same as a mother who descends into the city's underworld, a hell with a heavenly peaceful atmosphere, comes out and goes looking for a real forest in the stone jungles, the one where the blood-sucking tree branch from Scandinavia left in a cradle grows, the one where fairies hide little children. Gradually, the world of the series loses sunlight, all details and faces plunge into endless darkness, and one has to move in the shadows. Urban landscapes begin to live an almost otherworldly life, and familiar locations like the metro or the library become shelters for outcasts or even non-humans. Surprisingly, despite its complexity, the Changeling doesn't seem meaningless. On the opposite, it is undoubtedly a well-thought-out world, a parallel universe that is both frightening to believe in and very intriguing. And most importantly, it has yet to be unraveled. The first season essentially introduces you to the situation, gives you a crash course, teaches you the local language, informs you with the local myth, and unravels some mysteries of the past that darken the hero's once cloudless existence in the present. Born in the center of a garbage strike, the god Apollo and his chosen one, in a sense, emerged from the fire that consumed her mother and father, are working off their karma. But not only that, once connected with witches, fairies, and other supernatural entities, it's not so easy to remain human, just like it's not easy to stay human after giving a birth to a new person. Thanks a lot for watching Beat Up Popcorn, like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode.
2, 3